All right. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to give you a little bit of a study on Abraham. Now, I've read this many times, and I've seen this, but did I really see it all? And I want to tell you how it relates to me and a little bit of a testimony that's been going on in my life right now. Uh, but this was brought to me by Joe Reveille, preacher that come through our church. And he blessed me because I've been praying and fasting a lot on this. And I'll get into that into my testimony at the end of the study. So you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. And it says, Genesis 12:1. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, into a land that I will show thee. Listen to that again. Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and I will make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Wow. That's a lot of goodness right there, isn't it? But he told him to get out of your country, get away from your kindred, and leave your father's house. Go to a different place, and you will be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son. He took Lot his brother's son. What did God ask him to do? Leave your country, and from your kindred, and from thy father's house. Get thee out of it. But he took Lot with him. Now, this is important. This is going to mean something here. And he took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And to the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanites was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thee and to thy seed will I give this land. And there built he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. And he moved from thence unto a mountain in the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. And there he built an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. Now, I've heard many preachers preach this, and if you read through the scripture, it's very evident. Abraham loved God. And every time God spoke with Abraham, Abraham built an altar, not only to reverence God who spoke to him, but he built that altar to give him a place to go. Look where God took me from, and look where he's taking me to. It's like a reference. He bent the page on his book and he said, Here you go. I want to remember this. I want to remember that God spoke to me. And I want to always be able to look back at this and go, this is where God started to bless me. And it says right here, now he'd already got into Canaan where God told him to. Now watch this. Sometimes we make mistakes in our lives. And I want to show you this because this has an effect on Abram. And it says, there was a famine in the land. Didn't say that Abram was starving. Didn't say that anything else. But listen to what happened here. And Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn. Sometimes we go places in our life that God didn't mean us for us to be. And we sojourn. Means we stay there. God didn't mean for you to be there. So things happen to us that shouldn't have ought to ever happened. For the famine was grievous in the land. Didn't say that he couldn't live through it. Just said it was grievous. And it came to pass when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai, his wife, Behold now, I know thou art a fair woman to look upon. Listen to this. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that thou shalt say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and for my soul shall live because of thee. And it came to pass, when Abram come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, and that she was fair. See, God didn't tell him to go to Egypt. He went to Egypt. And what happened? He lied. These things come to pass now. Watch what happens here. And it came to pass that when Abram was come to Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was fair. And the princess also of Pharaoh saw her, and commanded her before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entered to Abram well for her sake, entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen, and he asses, and menservants, and maidservants, and she asses, and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with a great plague, because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Remember what God said? He said he would bless them that helped him, he would curse them that didn't. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she is thy wife? Why saidst thou, She is my sister? So I might have taken her to be my wife. Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, that they send him away and his wife and all that he had. Now you see what happened? Other people were cursed because of this man's mistake. He shouldn't have never been in Egypt. Pharaoh wouldn't have had to go through this. I'm telling you, sometimes we cause things to happen to people that really shouldn't happen to them. But let's go on a little further. Our actions always have a price. Don't ever think that sin's free. You're always going to pay for it in the end. Genesis 13:1. The only one that can forgive sins, let me say this, is God. But that doesn't mean that you ain't going to have scars on your life. I'm sorry. I should have said it that way. I'm not saying that God don't forgive sins. Let me make sure you understand that. Genesis 13:1. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him. Again, Lot's still with him, unto the south. Now, it's going to start getting into some interesting stuff here. And Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. Sodom is sin. I want you to understand that. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. Lot pitched his tent towards sin. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, listen, did you see this? And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, because what? What did God tell him? Get out of your country, leave your family, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward and southward, eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Did you hear that? It's a lot of people. Listen, but he gave him some stipulations. It says, Arise, walk through the land and the length of it and the breadth of it, and I will give it unto thee. And Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Moreh, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar of the Lord. See, there's another one of them altars. I'm telling you, when Abraham gets spoke to, he builds altars. And this is good. We should build them ourselves. I'm telling you, because if God's going to love on you, it's good to remember this. And Genesis 21:1 and 2. And the Lord visited Sarah. He changed her name to Sarah. And he said, and the Lord said to Sarah, as he had spoken, for Sarah conceived and bare a son in his old age at the set time in which God had spoken to him. So God gave him his son. She was barren for all these years. I want to say she was over 100. She was right at 100 years old when she had her child. That's insanely crazy. Well, watch this, because it's going to go a little further here, because I want you to see what happens. Oh, I'm going to have to go to that afterwards. So what I'm going to say to you is, when Abraham finally obeyed what God said, God gave him his son. God blessed him. And every prophecy that God had given him came true. Sometimes we want to hold on to that sin. We want to hold on to the boat. One of my teachings was God loves you, and I spoke of Peter and telling him that everybody else stayed on the boat and Peter stepped off the boat. God's been talking to me, and he's been wanting me to step off the boat, and I've been scared. I'll be honest, I've been real scared. So I'm going to show you what happened to Abram, because he didn't do what he was told to do. And this is the scars. Abram was still blessed of the Lord. I want you to understand that. Don't get this wrong. But listen to what happened to Abram, because he didn't listen to God. And this is what happens to us in our lives. And we try to blame God and say, God, why is this tragedy happening to me? Well, let's listen to what happened here. Genesis 16:11 through 12. And the angel Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, whose name shall be called Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. This is Sarah's handmaid. And listen, and he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. She said, this guy is going to be a jerk. This guy is going to be unruly. Everybody's going to dislike him, and he's going to dislike everybody else. And this is going to be his generations from then on. I'm telling you. When Abraham went to Egypt, he picked up Sarah's handmaid. And he brought back this with him, and it caused a scar. And he bare that scar throughout his life and his children's lives. Sometimes things we pick up, I told you, God didn't want you to pick it up. Let's go a little further, because we're going to find out what happened, because I don't think it ended there. Because remember who he brought with him? Yeah, Lot. A lot of people don't get into this because it's a little crazy, but I want you to see this. Because Abraham prayed. See, Abraham prayed. Not only did he take Lot out of where he was at, but he prayed that Lot wouldn't be destroyed in Sodom and Gomorrah for the sin and the wickedness of the place. So Abraham took Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah, and let me show you what happened. Lot's wife turned a pillar of salt. We all know that. But let's go a little further, because that's not where it ended. That's not where the story stopped. This is another scar that Abram put on his life. And this is his daughters, Lot's daughters, and they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he perceived not that she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, Behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed to our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him, and he perceived not that she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. You hear that? Now I want you to listen to these names, because this is important. This is some of these scars that are in our lives. And the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. You remember all these people that Israel fought all these times? What? Huh. And the younger also bare a son, and called his name Benanami. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry. And the same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. The Moabites and the Amorites. I'm telling you, two people that Israel fought almost their entire existence. These two people and this other Ishmael. I'm not going to put no names on who these people are today, but they're still here. They are still here. And guess what? Israel's still fighting against them. Always has, always will. It's some scars. Sometimes God forgives you for the sin. God forgives you for the sin, but you sometimes have scars. You sometimes have scars. So, to give you a little bit of my testimony, God spoke to me during this, because I've been praying to God. I said, God, you know, I've been fasting for a while now, a long while, years. And I fast at least 1 day a week, up to 5. And I asked the Lord to let me have my weekends so I can visit family and friends and eat on the weekends. And I asked him not to do some super lengthy fast, which I've done. And I've tried some really cool fast. And our church is doing fast month this month for the church. And this is so some of the fast I've tried is the Nineveh fast. No food, no water for 3 days. Man, God will speak to you. I'm telling you. And do that one multiple times. It's really good for your soul. God can tear down a lot of things in your life. Remember when I told you God told them to cast out the demon? And they went and tried to cast out the demon, and God told them, he said, where's, you didn't have faith enough. But later he told them, he said, some things only come out by prayer and fasting. Help ease some of those scars you got on your life. Prayer and fasting. You want to get closer to God? Prayer and fasting is where it's at. I'm telling you. You want him to expound his word to you, open up his word so you understand it more clearly. Let me say it in a better term. Don't need to use big language. God can help you. Prayer and fasting. And just because it doesn't happen on the first time does not mean you shouldn't ask again. I'm telling you, God spoke this message to me, straight to me at church. Straight to me. So this is what was happening in my life at the time. Been going through a trial. I think I was in Egypt. And been out of work for a while, but it was necessary. It really was. I needed to do some prayer and fasting, and I needed to seek the face of the Lord. And I've been doing that. And God said to me in multiple instances, seek my face first, then I'll take care of you. This don't mean nothing to you until you ain't paying your bills. Don't mean nothing to you till your rent's behind, till your car's breaking down, your truck's breaking down. None of this means anything to you. I mean, it's all just words. So, the bills are stacking up, and that's fine. And some delays were made that I was not able to take care of. So, it put me even farther behind. Then my air conditioner went out on my house. Now, mind you, I don't have a job. So, to explain this in a better way, I don't have any extra money. So my air conditioner went out on my house, and it run that month like exceedingly a bunch. I didn't know this, but so my electric bill was like $900. Now, on top of all of this, I had an accident in my truck, which messed my truck up pretty bad. It's okay. It still runs. I'm still blessed. I'm telling you, I'm still blessed. And then on top of that, I thought, I'm getting behind on my rent or my mortgage, not my rent, my mortgage. So I'm blessed. I have a house that I'm buying. So I'm not saying that I'm on the streets. Don't misunderstand me. And I'm not saying that I haven't had food in my mouth, because every time when the bills come due, God made a way for them to be paid. So he took care of me throughout all of this. But it was a time of testing for me. So I tried to get a job, and I just wanted any job. I mean, any job. So I took my job, and they hired me, and their computers went down. And the man told me, he said, Robert, he said, you're hired, but I can't bring you to work until you fill out your paperwork and stuff. I said, okay. 1 week rolled by, nothing. Then another place hired me. I went, boom, an even better job. And these are both places I applied for. I applied for these jobs. And I thought, Lord, this is my blessing. And both the first job's computer went down and I didn't get hired. The second job said, all you got to do is go fill out the rest of this paperwork. So I went back to fill out the paperwork. And you're never going to guess. Sorry. Their computers went down. And I went, Lord, this is pretty crazy. So I can't fill out the paperwork to get hired. Both jobs told me they'd hire me, told me I was hired. All I had to do is finish the paperwork. Both of their computers went down. And this wore on me pretty bad. And I was like, Lord, you said you'd take care of me. So I applied at another job. And this is a while back. I mean, this job, my Lord, I probably applied for this job about 3 months back. So it wasn't that I wasn't searching for jobs. It's the fact that nobody was calling me. I mean, nobody. Well, this job called me. Yeah, I want to work. Now I went there. And boy, was this job not my job. I I knew it when I got it. And when I went there, the job hurt me like really bad. And by the time of the end of the day, I've already have a hurt back. So by the time of the end of the day, I could hardly drive my car home. And I said, Lord, you know, I'm going to stay at this job because I thought, he'd give it to me. Guess what? I got fired. That hurt my feelings. I don't like losing the job. So it went on, and I went, Lord, what can I do? So another job come open. And this is one I applied for, and guess what? They called me. And this has been, my Lord, again, months. But I'm 53 years old. I'm 53 years old. I'm an old man. Ain't a lot of people want to hire an old man. And another job called me. But listen to this. I didn't apply for it. And I was like, what? I didn't apply at that job, but they called me. I was like, this is weird. I've never worked in this field. I've never worked in it. And this job sounded too good to be true. So it made me confused and I guess you can say scared. So I prayed about it a lot. And I went ahead and took the job. I kind of took them both at the same time. And the job that I applied for just didn't seem to go nowhere. It was really bugging me. I mean, it was really bugging me. And I prayed about it. I went to my pastor. I went to the assistant pastor. Went to some friends and stuff and talked to them about it. And they said, Robert, why ain't you going for the job that's good? And I said, because I don't know. I guess I'm scared. I didn't want to let loose of the boat. I didn't want to step out on the water. Well, God dealt with me that whole night. Like I couldn't sleep. I mean, I prayed, and it was my fast day. So, I mean, I prayed, and hours went by, and I prayed, and hours went by. And I woke up that morning, and I went in, and I told him, I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I owe y'all an apology, but I didn't want to give you half of me. I didn't want to give you something where I'm not supposed to be. I didn't want to go down to Egypt again. So I told him I quit. Now I'm going to start on my new journey. My job that I didn't apply for hired me. I passed my test. Everything's just going like it's supposed to. And this job has the potential to bless me. So I pray that I would keep my mind on the Lord and trust in Him. Hope you're all blessed by this, like me. God bless you. Have a good day.